ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. The story so far, the story is about whom? Me only. Me means everybody can say me. Who is the hero of Vedanta story? I. In movie I did not get chance to play, but I am the hero. Nice to think. I am the hero of the entire story of Vedanta Katha. Vedanta story. So I am hearing my own story. One Swamiji was reading some Vedanta text, and he was supposed to be an enlightened, a wise person. So somebody asked Swamiji, why are you reading? You are already a knowledgeable, wise person. He said, I am seeing where all my glories are written. So I am reading my own glories. So we are not talking about anybody else. It's not a gossip. I am talking about myself. I am saying the truth about myself. In this manner, Vedanta should be studied. We are not talking about some Atma, some Brahman. We are talking about me. It's me. Not this individual I. We are talking about the truth of the individual I. All right. So, we saw that Vedanta starts with this Atma and Atma Viveka and comes to the conclusion that I am consciousness. Little bit more about this consciousness, because it is the hero of the story. So, consciousness is immaterial in nature. It is of immaterial nature, non-material nature. Means conscious is not of material nature. This clip is of material nature. It is made up of some matter. Therefore, it is material. The book is what? Material. Made up matter is called material. Whereas I consciousness am not of material nature. My nature is not consisting of any matter. And that is why I cannot be measured. I am not available for any measurement. So people try, I am not material in nature, cannot be measured. People measure this consciousness. There are some machines, they put the machine when some program is going on, so you can measure the consciousness, they say. What they are measuring is this mental state, or we can say the manifestation of consciousness through the mind. It is not the consciousness itself. The variation which is experienced through the machine or noticed or inferred by machine is not the variation, elevation or depression of the consciousness. It is the variation in the manifestation through the mind. It is the variation seems to be in consciousness through this mind. Means they cannot measure consciousness. Consciousness is not available for measurement because it is non-material, non-spatial, not special, non-spatial. Means it doesn't belong to space. Therefore, consciousness does not have smallness and bigness. Smallness and bigness can be talked about that thing which obtains in space. Consciousness does not have that. And therefore, consciousness cannot be said to be small, medium size, big, etc. And we may say, Swamiji, you are creating so much mystery as it were about consciousness. What is this consciousness after all? How does it look like? It doesn't have any form to look like. It is formless. Form is a known property, belongs to the known body, known objects. Consciousness is formless. Consciousness is free from any location. It does not have any particular location. It is available everywhere. It does not have ID. No. ID means identification is not there. You cannot say consciousness is here located. You cannot give any location of consciousness. It's a location free, formless, soundless consciousness. So if somebody said, Swamiji, I heard the sound of consciousness in my deep meditation, I heard the sound of consciousness. He might have heard the sound of his stomach, perhaps, So he should, if it is happening often, he should consult gastroenterologist. Consciousness does not have sound. Consciousness does not have any bright form. You might have heard, in many so-called spiritual books, that this particular master, one day early morning, 3:45, on 1st April, he realized Atma as what? As a brilliant light. Thousands of light. Thousands of suns are illumining at the same time. That type of light of consciousness he experienced. And that was his realization. I tell you, you are entering into the spiritual pursuit and you read this. What happens, that becomes your goal. You are on the trip of getting such experience. And you try and it doesn't happen. And you are honest. One good thing, you are honest, and therefore you don't bluff. Some people bluff also. I got it. But fortunately you are honest. But you are very sincere. And therefore, what happens? You decide like Gautam Buddha. I will go to Himalayas, in deep cave, I will meditate. And karyam sadhayami va deham patayami. In Sanskrit it is said, means either I will accomplish my goal or I will let this body go. I will sit in meditation, I will not get up till I get that realization. And you know what happens? Our mind has this capacity that if it intensely desires something, then it projects it. If it is not available, it will project. So you will really see bright light. Because the mind now doesn't want to remain in the cave. It doesn't want. Therefore what? It creates a situation so that you can come out of the cave and tell everybody. That's what happens. In fact, they say when our hunger for stimulus also this happens. Every individual has this hunger for some stimuli. And if physical one, real, practical, empirical one is not available, it will project. And therefore what? This person will project, mind will project that there is a brilliant light. And person feels, I am realized person. And really his quality of life will not change. Because still he thinks what? I am the one who experience the brilliant light for some time, and all of them have not experienced. And I want to maintain that experience. I am the one who is superior because I got this, all this did not get. So duality is there. Superiority complex is there. Still he is in samsara only. Thus, we need to understand this fallacy of this false thinking that consciousness is some bright light. Consciousness is not some bright light. Light is an example given for consciousness. Consciousness is not light. Light is an example. People think example itself is consciousness. It is not. So don't think consciousness is in the form of bright light or something. Even though words light is used, chit jyotihi, words is used, but it is a metaphor, an example, not the true nature of consciousness. So don't expect this bright light to come in your meditation. And even if it comes, don't consider that to be consciousness. See, one thing I must tell you, that experiencing bright light in meditation is not impossible. It is possible. You can have, but don't consider it to be consciousness. That mistake we did not do. You can have experience of light, of sound also, some divine sound you can hear. In Yoga Shastra hai, Divya Anubhava is there, Divya Gandha, etc. You can have experience. But that is not consciousness. So consciousness is not a material entity. It is immaterial, non-material entity, not available for measurement. Its manifestation can be measured, inferred, but not the consciousness itself available for measurement. Person may think that I have measured consciousness, but he has just measured the manifestation through some upadhi. So the mind is upadhi, consciousness upahita. Upahita means one who has or one who is manifesting through the upadhi. All right. And this consciousness is obtaining in all upadhi, in all body, mind, sense complex. And this idea is presented through the two examples. One is the sun reflected in different media. The second is the space obtaining in different containers. So we saw that in the sun, Ambaramano, Bimbite, reflected in Gangambuni, in Ganga water. Va or. Va doesn't mean the Tamil va, come. Va here means or. Or in Chandala Vithi Payaha Pure, in the pool of water which is flowing in the street of Chandala. In that Antaram Astikim, is there any difference? Answer is no difference. First example. Second is Ambare, in space, which is obtaining Kanchana Ghati, in the golden small pot, or Mrutkumbha, in this clay pot. In that space, is there any difference which is obtaining in golden small pot or big clay pot? Just because space is obtaining in the Kanchana Ghati, this small golden pot, space doesn't become golden. You cannot say there is a golden space. Space is not golden. Space is obtaining in golden pot. Space is obtaining in small pot. It doesn't become small. Similarly, Mrit Kumbha. So space does not become clay space. Space doesn't become big. Because so far it was in Kanchanagatai, and now it is a Mrutkumbha, clay pot. It remains the same. So here also we have to say Antaramasti kim. Is there any difference in space obtaining in golden pot or Vamis or obtaining in clay pot? The answer is no difference is there. This is Drishtanta. Now Dashtanta means the main subject matter for which the example is given. That is called Dashtanta. What is that? Pratyak vastuni nistaranga sahajanandavabodham budhau ayam vibheda brahmaha kaha. What or how can there be vibheda brahmaha, the delusion of difference in what? Pratyak vastuni. In vastu means reality. In the reality which is pratyak, innermost. What or how can there be delusion of difference in the reality which is innermost? Pratyak vastuni. Vastu means reality. Vasati sarvada iti vastu. That which exists forever is vastu. Is referring to this pratyak, atma. So the reality which is pratyak, atma, the innermost. Pratyak means innermost. So in innermost reality which is atma, how can there be delusion of difference? The word pratyak is used for the same consciousness which is of the nature of existence. Consciousness is of the nature of existence because consciousness exists forever. Consciousness never ceases to exist, and therefore consciousness is called Satsvarupaha. In this Satsvarupa Chaitanyam, in the consciousness which is of the nature of existence, there is no difference whatsoever. Pratyak vastuni. The word pratyak is sometimes confusing. People think that Atma is only in inside only. Atma is not really confined to be inside. Atma is everywhere. But Atma is available as I am inside the mind which is obtaining inside the body. Therefore, Atma is called Pratyak, innermost. Atma is not confined, located in a particular place, but it is available as I am, only in the mind which is obtaining in the body. Therefore, it is called innermost. So, Upalabdhi Drishtya, from the standpoint of availability as I am, this consciousness, Atma, is called Pratyak. So, don't think that it is some very small, tiny thing located inside the body. People think, in fact, when they want to show the picture of Atma, what they will do, they will show the body, this person meditating, and in the heart, Om. So you think that Atma is only here. That is not so. It is only in terms of being available as I am. Therefore, Pratyak Vastuni Atmani Chaitanye. Vibheda Brahmaha Kaha. What is this? I am Vibheda Brahma, this division, the delusion of division. What type of division it is? What division it is? Means there cannot be any division. Akshepa means it is just for negation the word kaha is used. And this Pratyak Vastuni is compared to the ocean. The innermost reality is compared to an ocean. Ambudho. Ambudhi means ocean. Ambudhiyate asmin iti ambudhi. This body of water, ocean. In the ocean of what? Not water, avabodha, consciousness. In the ocean of consciousness. The ocean is the example given to show the vastness of Atma. So, in the ocean of consciousness, which is Ananda, which is Ananda Swarupa. People are interested in knowing Atma because it is Ananda Swarupa. If it is only consciousness, it will not appeal to you. Says, I am aware, okay, so what? But that who I am aware, am Ananda Swarupa, that matters. So, some people is a sapadram, So, there is a big Swamiji coming and lecture will be there, question answer will be there. It doesn't appeal to him. But after that, it will be followed by a nice, sumptuous lunch. That matters. So, some people, certain things only matter. So, all people, what matters is Ananda. Human being is utilitarian. So, always we ask, what do I get out of this? And Shastra says, you will know that you are consciousness. Oh, so what? I am just consciousness. I am aware of everything. No, I am Ananda Swarupa. So, this Pratyak Vastu is the ocean of consciousness which is Ananda. But Ananda, happiness, generally translated as happiness, we are aware of, we are familiar with. Is there anybody in this hall who has not experienced happiness? Is there anybody? Swami ji, sukh ka suraj kabhi dekha hi nahi. Means I have never seen the sun of happiness. Is there anybody? No. If a person thinks like that, then he is not knowing what he is saying. Everybody has experienced sukha. So, Swamiji, is Chaitanam is sukha means that once in a while happiness coming. Is that? No. Sahaja. Sahaja means natural, intrinsic. This innermost reality called the self is the ocean of consciousness which is natural happiness, intrinsic happiness. So, there are two types of happiness. One is called experiential happiness, incidental happiness. When you go to the dining hall, and like today breakfast, I think, some bonda and sweet and all. And therefore, then you really enjoyed. You had some happiness. That is called experiential happiness, which is incidental. When your mind has got a particular calm condition, non-demanding condition, at that time, this Ananda, which is the nature of Atma, is reflected. That is called incidental experiential happiness. All of us are familiar with that. But that experiential happiness is subject to coming and going. Our breakfast happiness is over, and in fact, sometimes in the breakfast time itself, it's over. Why? Because I took one bonda, I really liked it. Therefore, I went for the second, and that fellow said, no, only one. I felt so insulted because everybody was looking at me. So, what they will think? I am Sapadram? No, I am not. I hope all of you know what is the word Sapad Ram. Sapad means eating, Ram means committed. So, Sapad Ram. Okay. So, your happiness is gone. You feel so ashamed, So, our happiness is subject to coming and going. That is experiential happiness. Shastra talks about other happiness which is Swabhava, Swarupa Ananda. Happiness, which is the nature of Atma. And whatever is the nature of a thing will never go. Heat is the nature of fire. So heat never leaves fire. Similarly, the happiness, Ananda, is the nature of Atma. It never leaves Atma. And that is called Swarupa Ananda. So Ananda, which is the nature of Atma, is Swarupananda, which is Nityananda. And this Nityananda, Swarupananda is in the form of fullness, limitlessness. So limitlessness, fullness, which is the nature of Atma, is called Swarupa Ananda. And this Swarupa Ananda alone gets reflected in the particular condition of the mind, and then it is called Anubhavananda or Samvedya Ananda, experiential happiness. So two types of happiness. One is the reflected Ananda, experiential happiness, incidental happiness, which is subject to coming and going, which can have gradation also. In Shastra we have gradation, Priya Moda, Pramoda, gradation also can be there. Whereas Swarupa Ananda is free from gradation. It is permanent. It is there in the form of my very nature, which is limitless. So Swarupa Ananda is in the form of nature of Atma being limitless. So limitlessness as the nature of Atma is called Swarupa Ananda. And this Swarupa Ananda, which is fullness, is consciousness. Consciousness alone, being limitless, being the basis for experiential happiness, is called Ananda. So people may think, Swamiji, I have got consciousness, but Ananda Bhagavan forgot to give. So it is not so. Consciousness itself is limitless. Being limitless, it is Ananda. So Sahaja Ananda Avabodham Budho. By using the word Sahaja, it is distinguished from experiential impermanent happiness. So the innermost reality is the ocean of consciousness, which is intrinsic fullness. In fact, Pujya Swamiji used to say, the word Ananda, it is better to translate as fullness than happiness. Because happiness, when you say, it is always subject to coming and going. Therefore, better expression is fullness. All right. Then one more word, Nistaranga. Generally, ocean will have waves, but this ocean of consciousness is Nistaranga. And Nistaranga means Nirvikalpa, undifferentiated. So this innermost reality is the ocean of consciousness, which is intrinsic fullness, and this ocean is undifferentiated. So it's an undifferentiated ocean of consciousness, which is intrinsic fullness. In this Pratyagatma, there is no difference. What type of difference is not there? He says, Ayam Vipraha. This is a Brahmana. Ayam Shwapachaha. This is a Chandala. Shwa means dog. Pacha means one who is cooking. Shwapachaha means one who cooks dog. Dog cooker. So, dog, the one who cooks dog. It's Chandala. They eat dog, So, in that consciousness, the reality, such division that this is Brahmana, this is Chandala is not there. Such division is only at the level of the body, not at the level of consciousness. In consciousness, ayam vibheda brahmaha. The wrong idea of Brahma means wrong idea. Wrong idea of division, vibheda, division. What type of division? Ayam vipraha, ayam swapachaha iti. In this manner, division is not there. Api, even this division that this is Brahmana, this is Swapacha is not there. Is for emphasis. And this word is, one more word is used for that Vibheda Brahma, Mahan. Mahan means big. He is sarcastically telling this big difference, Viprahayam, Swapachahayam. What is this? Kaha means what? What difference can there be in that inner reality, which is vast ocean of consciousness? There is no such division. So, in consciousness, such division, Mahan, big difference is not there. Big difference is not there means there is no such difference. You are making such a big difference. I am Vipraha, I am Swapachaha. You are, in your mind, it may be a big difference. But such difference is not there. And word Mahan is conveying the idea that this difference is regarding Atma, which is Mahan. Mahan means big. Therefore, the difference, the delusion is also called big. The confusion regarding big Atma is big. This is one way of understanding Mahan. Another way of understanding Mahan is this division. This is Brahmana, this is Chandala, this is Vaishya, this big difference. How can there be? Kaha, katham. How can there be? By using the word Mahan, it is suggested the impact of this difference is very big in our life. Even though it is a false difference, but it is making lot of difference. It is lot of impact in our lives. So, impact wise this difference is big. Why? It is creating complex. If I am Brahmana and I am considering myself to be Brahmana different from the Chandala, then I will have superiority complex. I will look down upon them. I will humiliate them, exploit them. Will be causing lot of papa. Thus, impact of this confusion is big, and therefore, the difference is called Mahan. The idea, wrong idea of difference is Mahan, and he is negating that by saying the word Kaha. What or how can there be the wrong idea of difference that this is Brahmana, this is this Chandala in the Pratyagatma, which is free from all divisions. So, the essence of this shloka, who is saying this shloka? Chandala Rupa Shankara. The essence of this shloka is that in Pratyagatma, in the innermost self, there is no difference whatsoever. It is free from differences. All the differences which are found to be there are only in the body, mind, sense complex and not in Atma. And to explain this, two examples were given. And these two examples are representative of two models used in Vedanta. One model is called Pratibimba Vada, other one is called Avacheda Vada. Pratibimba Vada means reflection model, where how one consciousness can appear as many jivas. That is explained with the help of the example of reflection. Therefore, it is called Pratibimba Vada. So, Bimbite Ambaramano, that was Pratibimba Vada. reflection model. And the last part, Kanchana Gati Mrut Kumbhayor Vambare, that is Avachedavada. And Avachedavada is a model in which how one reality consciousness can appear as many jiva is explained with the help of space. So, one model is using the example of light, a reflection of light, other one is using the example of space. So, how one space appears as many space depending upon manyness of the container. Similarly, one Atma, like space, appears to be many because of many containers, like many pots. Thus, Pratibimbavada uses the example of reflection, Avachedavada uses the example of space to explain how one reality can appear as many jivas. All right. Therefore, two examples are given. So, in this shloka, this Chandala Rupa Shiva said, with reference to consciousness, there cannot be any division. And with reference to the body, there can be superficial division. Even that we inquire, we will find that basic material is the same. And therefore, how can you say Gacha Gacha? So, now be careful, you say Gacha Gacha to anybody. In Tamil, there is a way, no? You give the way to, what did we say there? Huh? Huh? Talipo, yeah. Yeah, because when I am going, sometimes people say, I don't say, people say. Huh? Valipu, huh? Something, yeah. So, be careful. Because sometimes Shiva may come. All right. Now, before we go to, still we are in the Ksepak Shloka only. Still we are in additional verses only, introductory verses. Before we go to the main shloka, which I would like to enter today, one question will come. Swamiji, does it mean there is no distinction at all in karma or any particular transactional reality? Is there any distinction as far as karmas are concerned, duties are concerned, or all can do everything, because all are Atma. All are Atma, and therefore all can do everything. Then why in Shastra there says this Brahmana alone can do, the Kshatriya alone can do, Vaishya alone can do, this Shudra can do, this Shudra cannot do, this Vaishya cannot do. Brahaspati Yaga can be done by Brahmana, Kshatriya cannot do. Rajasuya Yaga, Kshatriya alone can do, Brahmana cannot do. Kariri Yaga, Vaishya alone can do, not Brahmana. So, why such division? It is the part of Vedas only. So, Vedanta says that all are Atma, all are one and the same Atma. And same Vedas is telling this Brahmana can do this Kshatriya can do, this Brahmana cannot do. So, contradiction, Morning you say something, evening you say something else. What is this? So, Swamiji, after listening to Vedanta, should I stop following any distinction? No. So, whatever, this body belongs to, I will do whatever karma is required. Even though I am a brahmachari, but I feel like doing Agnihotra, In the Shastra, the Agnihotra can be done only by Grihastha. Brahmachari cannot do. Vanaprastha cannot do. Even a person who has lost his spouse cannot do. So Swamiji, I like Agnihotra. I like Agnihotra. Because I want to have Agnihotri, that title. Our answer is no. Why? Because when you come to the level of karma, action, this action is happening in consciousness or it is happening in the upadhi. I can use the word upadhi, body, mind, sense complex is upadhi. Consciousness is only witness. Action does not happen in consciousness. Consciousness is changeless. Since it is changeless, action cannot happen, because for action, change is required. And therefore, Atma level, there is no action. Where is action? It is the level of Anatma. And in Anatma, there is a division or not? At least superficial division is there. So, when it comes to action, we are coming to the level of Anatma, and in Anatma, there is division, at least superficial division, and therefore, when we come to karma, we have to follow the division. It is something like if you are playing cricket. So, you and your player, both are players. In fact, you are earning more compared to your even captain. Sometimes it happens. The player is more popular than the captain. Many times Sachin Tendulkar was just a player, he was not a captain. But he was earning much more senior. But now I am on the ground. When I am on the ground, whatever my captain says, I have to do it. You cannot say, I am a senior player, you cannot ask me to go to the boundary. I don't like to be on boundary. People will ask me for autograph. I don't like to be disturbed. So, so you cannot say that. Even though you are a senior player, all of you are players, you are a senior player according to you, but still now that person is having the position of a captain, and therefore you have to listen to it. Further, in that ground, one person is umpire. Umpire is paid much less than the player. You know that? Yeah. And umpire hardly anybody knows. Nobody will give them any sponsorship of advertisement. Nothing much he earns. But when he is on the ground, if umpire says, oh, you cannot run like this, on the pitch you cannot run, you cannot run. This is no ball. No, it is just ball. No? If you say 2-3 times, resist, you will be out, you will be sent out. But once game is over, you can put your hand on his shoulder and can run, no problem. But during that, umpire, you say, hey, what you are talking? What is your value? 50,000. Go. You will be out. So, when you are playing on the ground, you have a particular position and you have to respect that position. Similarly, when you come to the field of karma, you have come to the level of Anatma. And in Anatma level, there is distinction. As I told you, in the team, even though you are a player, but there is one player called captain. There is a distinction. Even though all of you are players, and all will be given perhaps same salary, same match fee perhaps, but you have to listen to it. Similarly, when we come to karma field, we have come to Anatma, because karma is in Anatma level only. And therefore, whatever division talked about at the level of Anatma needs to be followed. So, don't mix up these two, that karma level, also you bring Vedanta. I am Atma, you are Atma, so you can do puja, I also can do puja. This without bath also I am Brahman or not? Brahman only. After bath also what? Brahman only. What is the difference? I can go to the temple without bath, because after all Brahman only, no? The Dakshinamurti is Brahman, I am Brahman. So what is this? Not only that, you will go to the Guru. Guru, what are you? You are Brahman. I am what? Brahman. So today you do namaskara to me. For a change, why not? No. When namaskara comes, is an action. It is at the level of anatma. In anatma level, there is a Guru Shishya division. We accept it. Therefore, there is a beautiful shloka in a text called Tattvopadesha. Bhavadvaitam sada kuryat kriyadvaitam na karhichit. So, Advaita vision is very good, but it should not be brought at the level of action to create confusion. Then Advaitam Trishu Lokeshu. You know that everything is one reality, but don't say that thing to Guru and ask him to do namaskara. Vision is there. I and my Guru, both of us are same reality. But when it comes to transaction level, I do namaskara. I don't expect my Guru to do namaskara. Because we have come to anatma level. So we follow the level properly. So don't bring that non-duality in an inappropriate manner at the level of karma. Then next question would be, Swamiji, then what is the use of Vedanta? What is the use of Advaita? You are saying it is not to be used in karma. So what is this? It is something like you can have this weapon, but don't use it. So what is the use of weapon if I am not allowed to use it? So you have Advaita vision, but don't use it in karma. Don't use it in Vyavahara. Then what is the use of understanding Atma is Advaita, Atma is non-dual, Atma is one in all? Just it is theory only. Just to understand and be happy, oh, I know it, and then I pass it on to somebody. It is something like, some gifts are there. Nobody uses it. It is just circulated. Certain blouse piece in those days, And nobody uses. See, is coming. Sometime it may come back to you. So, is it like that? No. No, it is not so. Why? Why it is not so? Because this vision of Advaita, I alone am reality, I consciousness alone am reality, helps me to remove the cognitive confusion about myself. What is the cognitive confusion? I am consciousness, I am different from the body, mind, sense complex, but because of ignorance, I consider myself to be as good as this body, mind, sense complex. And because of that, the limitation of the body became my limitation. Limitation of the mind became my limitation. And that is causing samsara. I am always feeling limited. Why? Because I consider myself to be the limited body. What you are identifying with, will bring about the qualities of that particular thing. See, sometimes it happens, a person is relatively rich, but he gets associated with some poor organization which doesn't have resources. So now he is identified with that organization. And therefore, all the time thinking about money, how to get funds. For himself, he doesn't require. But he is so attached to the organization that all the time, one person was like this, I remember his example. So he said, Swamiji, all the time when I am walking, I am always thinking how to get funds. He himself doesn't have problem. He is having good pension and all. He was an army or somewhere. So for himself he doesn't require. But identified with this poor organization, and therefore what? He is feeling very poor. And he is asking for money to so many people that people may avoid him. Similarly, I consciousness by myself am free from limitations, but identified with this limited body. And therefore what? I am feeling limited. And that is why I suffer, that since I am feeling limited, I want to be limitless by getting this or that. And that is how samsara continues. And this samsara, which is born of my mistakes about myself, based on the identification with the body, that is resolved by knowing myself to be non-dual consciousness. One uniformly present consciousness. So, this vision of one consciousness, ekatma, is not useless, but it is to be used properly. Just because I have got hammer, I should not think everything is a nail. That is an expression in English. So I have got a hammer. So somewhere nail was there, I put it, problem solved. Somewhere dent was there, I did it, it worked, became all right. Some bulging was there, I put hammer, all right. So now 2-3 places it worked. Therefore I thought everywhere. You have got a headache, put. So just because hammer is the only instrument you have, you should not think every problem is a nail. Similarly, this vision of Vedanta is not useless, but it is to be used properly. Properly means what? It is not to be used to create confusion at the level of transaction. It is to be used to resolve my confusion, to resolve my sense of limitation, to resolve my sense of dependence, to resolve my helplessness, to resolve my non-self-acceptance. For all that, this vision of Atma being one, limitless, is to be used. In a simpler way, if we put it, it is not really meant for doing a particular action, but it can help you to avoid reaction. This vision of Vedanta will help you to avoid reaction. Somebody, as I told you, somebody tells you idiot, you can smile. That is the purpose. It is not useless. It is to be used properly. Some instrument you have, it doesn't mean that it should be used everywhere. It should be used for a particular thing. You have instrument for measuring something. So you should not use to drive the screw with that instrument. It is not meant for that. Thus, the vision of Vedanta is for getting me free from all confusion, complexes, sense of helplessness, and it is not to be wrongly used in the level of karma, where anatma comes into the picture mainly, and where division is very much there. But even while following the division at the level of anatma, we never lose sight of the oneness of atma. So what should be the approach? While doing the transaction, I respect the division at the level of anatma, but I don't lose sight of oneness of atma. Respect the division at the level of anatma, but never lose sight of the oneness of atma. So the difference is there at the level of anatma, which is superficial. But that superficial, transactional, incidental division is to be respected. In fact, some people, when they one time only the rice is to be served, they will get so much rice. And what they will do, you know that? One rice for sambar, one rice for rasam, one rice for curd rice. They do it or no? That division. Same rice, no? So I may do the division. I have thought like this is for sambar, this is for rasam, this is for curd rice. And follow that. But by chance that fellow, put the rice on the wrong place. I had asked him to put in the middle and he put at the corner, which was meant for curd rice. So I did not get angry. It is same. So follow the division, respect the division, but don't lose sight of non-duality, oneness. This is the approach of Vedanta. More we'll see the next class. I wanted to enter, but next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.